My career journey is, I think, somewhat unique in that when I decided to go to college, I went kind of against the grain. I grew up as a military dependent on the Navy side. There was an opportunity to look at a school like West Point, get an engineering degree, be an officer, have a guaranteed job, and hopefully make something of myself. So I went that route. It was an opportunity to be on the other side of the boundary which I kind of grew up in. And for the most part, in fact, it exceeded my wildest expectations. Once I graduated from the military academy, I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Ordnance Corps, which was the maintenance division of the Army. So my responsibilities as a second lieutenant platoon leader was to provide maintenance for tracked vehicles, tanks, in the heat of battle, which was my particular specialty, but the Ordnance Corps was responsible for maintaining the maintenance of all tracked and wheeled vehicles, and doing it under fire. It was a pretty unique experience and an opportunity, albeit I did it during a time when there was no conflict. So we did most of most of my effort and work was basically just basic training and training exercises around California. I was stationed at Fort Ord in Monterey, so it was an opportunity to go back to California after 4 years of being in New York. And it was an exciting time, but I did that. I was reassigned after 3 years back to Aberdeen, Maryland, which is the home of the Ordnance Corps, where I attended my officer advance course and also was promoted to captain. At which point I was supposed to be reassigned overseas, but they asked me to stay and teach the officer basic course, the officer advanced course, and the senior NCO course. I felt like, yeah, that would be a challenge. It was an opportunity to parlay the skills that I developed as a second lieutenant out in the 7th Infantry Division in Monterey and provide insight to these new officers coming out of either West Point or other commissioning sources, the ROTCs and uniform universities around the country. So it was a great opportunity for me. I did that for the next 2 years, at which point I came up on my 5-year commitment period as to whether I was going to stay in or stay out. So I decided, again, to take a chance. I applied to graduate schools to get an MBA. I was very fortunate. I got accepted into a number of schools, pretty much all the schools that I applied to. But I got into the Wharton School, which is where I wanted to go. Had a great time at Wharton in that it provided me with insight and exposure to areas of business and the business community that I had no idea existed in terms of the world of consulting, the world of investment banking, the world of marketing, everything. And in addition, it was my first time being in class in a co-ed environment. As when I was at West Point, I was one of the last classes, or my class was one of the last classes that was all male. Once I graduated from Wharton, I had a number of different offers, marketing, consulting, but I chose to go to Wall Street to do public finance. Public finance was a business that I knew nothing about. It kind of opened up to me based on a call that I got from Merrill Lynch, of all places, that said, hey, we're looking at your resume. We see that you have a good solid finance numbers background, and we do something that most people have probably never heard of or don't think about in terms of providing the infrastructure, capital to build things like schools, roads, airports, the ability to turn your water on, the ability to flush your toilets, all that stuff which most people don't think about, but requires some pretty interesting financing maneuvering in terms of the capital markets. So I went into this business called public finance, or the industry of public finance, which I've been doing for basically the last 32 years. It's a fascinating business to me. It's a combination of politics and Wall Street, because you have to be able to understand the needs of the politicians that you work with, because our clients tend to be the mayors and city CFOs, governors of the country, and helping to facilitate the ability to build the infrastructure that keeps the country in place and going forward. So it's a fascinating business to me. I like it. It's been challenging, but it's what I've been doing, so I enjoy it.